Have you ever looked at a car and wondered if one single decision could completely change how the world remembers it? Imagine spending years rebuilding one of the most famous hypercars on the planet, solving problem after problem, overcoming challenges that many experts believe were impossible, only to make one final choice that leaves millions of people arguing online. That is exactly what happened when YouTube creator Matt Armstrong revealed the next stage of FX Alex G's Bugatti Chiron Per Sport rebuild. Instead of finishing the car with original factory body panels, the project took a bold turn by using a custom-made Venuum wide-body kit, reportedly worth around $700,000. The moment the first images appeared online, the internet exploded with opinions. Some people called it one of the greatest custom Bugatti projects ever attempted, while others believed it ruined one of the rarest and most beautiful cars in the world. Social media quickly filled with debates, YouTube comments poured in by the thousands, and car enthusiasts from every corner of the world started asking the same question. Was this an incredible act of creativity, or was it an expensive mistake that should never have happened? The discussion became much bigger than just a body kit. It turned into a conversation about originality, art, engineering, money, and the future of rebuilding million-dollar hypercars. For years, Bugatti has represented perfection. Every line, every curve, and every part of Chiron is carefully designed and tested by engineers who spend countless hours making sure everything meets the highest standards. Because of that reputation, many people believe that changing a Bugatti is almost like changing a famous painting. They argue that such cars should be preserved exactly as they left the factory. Others completely disagree. They believe that once a car has been badly damaged, especially when original replacement parts are unavailable, the owner has every right to rebuild it in a way that reflects creativity and personal vision. This difference in opinion is exactly why Matt Armstrong's project became one of the most talked about automotive stories on YouTube. It was never just about fiberglass, carbon fiber, or the price of a body kit. It became a battle between two different ways of thinking. One side wanted restoration. The other side wanted innovation. The story actually began long before the wide-body kit entered the picture. FX Alex G's Bugatti Chiron Per Sport had already become famous because of its dramatic crash and the enormous challenge of bringing such an expensive machine back to life. Most people believed the car would never return to the road. Even experienced mechanics understood how difficult the job would be because Bugatti vehicles are built differently from almost every other production car in the world. Their engineering is incredibly advanced, their parts are extremely rare, and repairs often require factory-level equipment and specialized knowledge. Matt Armstrong, however, had already built a reputation for taking on projects that many people considered impossible. His channel had grown because viewers loved watching him rescue damaged supercars and turn them back into beautiful machines. Every new project pushed the limits even further, but the Bugatti Chiron represented an entirely different level of difficulty. Throughout the rebuild, viewers watched as complex mechanical systems were repaired, damaged components were replaced, and countless technical challenges were solved step by step. Each episode attracted millions of views because people genuinely wanted to see whether the impossible could become reality. As the project moved closer to completion, excitement reached an all-time high. Fans expected the final product to look almost identical to the original Bugatti. Instead, they witnessed something completely unexpected. The decision to install a custom Venuum wide-body kit shocked nearly everyone. Supporters immediately praised the courage required to make such a bold choice, arguing that creating something unique was more exciting than simply copying the factory design. Critics responded just as quickly, saying that a rare Per Sport deserved nothing less than original body panels, regardless of the cost or difficulty. The reported price of the custom kit only made the debate even more intense. Many people struggled to understand how a body kit could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, while others pointed out that designing, engineering, manufacturing, and fitting one-off components for a hypercar is nothing like producing ordinary aftermarket parts. Suddenly, every video, forum, and social media platform was filled with discussions about value, quality, craftsmanship, and whether the final result could ever justify such an enormous investment. The project had transformed from a simple rebuild into one of the biggest automotive debates on YouTube, and everyone wanted to know whether Matt Armstrong was creating automotive history or making the biggest gamble of his career. The reason this decision became so controversial is that very few people truly understand what happens after a rare hypercar is seriously damaged. Many viewers assumed the easiest solution would have been to order brand new factory panels from Bugatti and return the car to its original condition. In reality, rebuilding a modern Bugatti is far more complicated than repairing an ordinary sports car. Every panel is designed with incredible precision, and every part must fit perfectly with the rest of the vehicle. The Chiron is not simply a fast car. It is one of the most advanced production cars ever created. Its body is carefully shaped to improve airflow, cooling, stability, and performance at speeds that most cars will never even come close to reaching. That means replacing damaged bodywork is not as simple as unbolting one panel and installing another. Everything has to line up perfectly, and even the smallest mistake can affect how the car performs. According to the story shared throughout the rebuild, getting original replacement panels was not an option, leaving Matt Armstrong and FX Alex G with a difficult choice. They could spend years trying to recreate factory parts that might never match the originals perfectly, or they could accept that the car would never be exactly the same again and create something entirely different. That second option eventually led them to Venuum, a company known for designing bold and aggressive body kits for luxury vehicles. Instead of copying Bugatti's original design, the company developed a completely new wide-body appearance that would give the rebuilt Chiron its own identity. Supporters immediately saw this as a brave decision. They argued that once the car could no longer be restored with genuine factory parts, try to imitate the original would only create a compromise. In their opinion, building something unique made much more sense than creating an imperfect copy. They believed the project should celebrate creativity, rather than chase perfection that might never be possible. On the other hand, critics viewed the same decision in a completely different way. They argued that the beauty of the Bugatti Chiron already came from one of the greatest automotive design teams in history, so changing that design was unnecessary. To them, every curve of the original car had a purpose, and replacing it with an aftermarket body kit removed part of what made the Chiron so special. As photos and videos of the unfinished body kit spread across YouTube and social media, the debate became even louder. Some viewers immediately judged the appearance, calling it too aggressive or saying it looked unfinished. Others reminded everyone that the car had not yet been painted, the panels were still being adjusted, and many parts were only temporarily installed for testing. Experienced builders pointed out that almost every custom project looks rough during the fitting stage because body panels often require multiple adjustments before everything lines up perfectly. Despite those explanations, many people continue to judge the project based on early images, proving just how powerful first impressions can be on the internet. The reported price of around $700,000 became another major topic of discussion. Countless viewers questioned how any body kit could possibly cost that much money. Some assumed the number had to be exaggerated, while others believed it included much more than the physical panels themselves. Designing a one-of-a-kind body kit for one of the world's rarest hypercars requires extensive engineering, digital modeling, prototype development, custom molds, specialized manufacturing, and countless hours of skilled labor. Unlike mass-produced aftermarket parts, a unique project like this spreads those development costs across only one vehicle. Even so, many people remain skeptical because the price sounded almost unbelievable. Social media quickly filled with jokes, memes, and sarcastic comments comparing the cost of the body kit to luxury homes, exotic vacations, and entire collections of sports cars. Yet there were also viewers who admired the ambition behind the project. They believe that creating something truly original often requires taking financial risks that most people would never understand. They argue that history tends to remember the builders who dared to be different rather than those who simply followed the safest path. As the discussion continued, it became clear that this was no longer just about money or body panels. It had become a larger debate about creativity, value, originality, and whether rebuilding an iconic machine should always mean returning it to factory condition, or whether a damaged masterpiece can evolve into something completely new that tells its own story. One of the biggest reasons this project captured so much attention was the reaction from the online community. In today's world, YouTube comments, Facebook posts, Instagram reels, Reddit discussions, and automotive forums can influence how people view a project almost as much as the project itself. Within hours of Matt Armstrong uploading the latest update, thousands of viewers rushed to share their opinions. Some comments were thoughtful and balanced, while others were emotional, sarcastic, and even harsh. It quickly became clear that almost nobody felt neutral about the wide-body Bugatti. People either loved it or hated it. Very few viewers seemed to sit somewhere in the middle. One of the most popular comments suggested that the body kit company had gone from being relatively unknown to becoming famous for the wrong reasons. That comment received thousands of likes because it reflected what many disappointed viewers were already thinking. In their eyes, this project was supposed to introduce Venom as a company capable of creating world-class hypercar designs, but instead, they believe it raised more questions than excitement. Other viewers focused almost entirely on the reported price. They argued that no body kit, no matter how exclusive, could possibly justify such an enormous amount of money. Many compare the cost of buying multiple Ferraris, Lamborghinis, or McLarens, making the figure seem even more unbelievable. Some joked that the price of the body kit alone could buy an entire collection of dream cars. While these comments were often humorous, they also reflected a genuine concern about value. People wanted to understand exactly what made this kit so expensive. Was it the materials? Was it the engineering? Was it the limited production? Or was the number simply inflated because it was attached to one of the world's most famous rebuild projects? These questions spread rapidly across social media, encouraging even more people to join the discussion. Some viewers even questioned what materials were actually used. Without official technical details available to everyone, rumors quickly began circulating. A few people claimed the panels looked more like plastic than premium carbon fiber, while others insisted it was impossible to judge the materials from unfinished workshop footage. Experienced builders reminded everyone that raw body panels often appear very different before they receive paint, primer, clear coat, and final finishing. Under workshop lights, even expensive composite materials can look dull or uneven, especially before final assembly. Despite those explanations, the visual appearance continued to shape public opinion. First impressions are powerful, and many viewers had already decided whether they liked or disliked the project before learning anything about how the body kit was actually built. At the same time, there was another group of fans who strongly defended Matt Armstrong. They pointed out that throughout the entire rebuild, he had repeatedly solved problems that many experts believed could never be fixed outside the Bugatti factory. They argued that his mechanical work had been nothing short of incredible, rebuilding complex suspension systems, repairing damaged components, sourcing rare parts, and bringing the Chiron back to life required an extraordinary level of skill and determination. Even some people who disliked the body kit admitted they respected the quality of the mechanical restoration. They separated the engineering achievements from the styling decisions. In their opinion, Matt deserved praise for making the car drive again, even if they personally preferred the original Bugatti design. That distinction became one of the most interesting parts of the debate, because it showed that viewers were capable of appreciating different aspects of the project independently. Others urged patience, reminding everyone that the build was still incomplete. They argued that judging an unfinished project was unfair, because the final paint color, fitment, lighting, trim pieces, and countless small details could dramatically change the car's overall appearance. Anyone who has watched custom car builds knows that the final stages often transform a rough-looking project into something stunning. Panel gaps are refined, surfaces become perfectly smooth, colors bring the design to life, and every small detail begins working together as one complete vision. Supporters believe the Bugatti deserved the same patience before receiving final judgment. Critics, however, felt that even at the unfinished stage, the overall design direction simply did not match the elegance they expected from a Chiron per sport. As more reactions poured in from around the world, one thing became impossible to ignore. This was no longer just another YouTube build series. It had become one of the biggest discussions in the automotive community, proving that a single creative decision could divide millions of enthusiasts and keep people talking long after the video had ended. As the debate continued, many experienced car enthusiasts began looking beyond the appearance of the body kit and started asking a much deeper question. What should the goal of a rebuild actually be? Is the purpose of restoring a damaged vehicle to make it look exactly like it did when it left the factory, or is a rebuild an opportunity to create something completely new? This question has existed in the automotive world for decades, but projects involving ordinary sports cars rarely receive worldwide attention. A Bugatti Chiron per sport is different because it is one of the rarest and most expensive production cars ever built. Every example carries enormous historical and financial value, which means every modification is carefully examined by collectors, engineers, and enthusiasts. Many traditional collectors believe that originality is everything. They argue that every factory bolt, every panel, every piece of paint, and every design detail contributes to the car's identity. From their perspective, changing any of those elements reduces a vehicle's authenticity and may even affect its long-term value. They often compare rare automobiles to famous works of art, just as museums carefully restore priceless paintings without changing the artist's original vision. These collectors believe historic cars should receive the same respect. They see restoration as preserving history rather than creating something different. On the other side of the discussion are people who believe cars are meant to be driven, enjoyed, and personalized. They argue that once a vehicle has been heavily damaged, especially when factory replacement parts are no longer available, restoring it to perfect original condition may no longer be realistic. Instead of chasing something that can never truly be achieved, they believe builders should embrace creativity and develop a fresh identity for the vehicle. This philosophy has produced many legendary custom cars throughout automotive history. Some projects were criticized when they first appeared, but later became icons because people eventually appreciated the craftsmanship, innovation, and courage behind them. Supporters of Matt Armstrong's decision believe the Bugatti rebuild belongs in that category. They argue that the project is not trying to fool anyone into believing it is a completely original factory per sport. Instead, it openly presents itself as a one-of-a-kind creation with its own personality. They believe that honesty makes a huge difference. Rather than hiding modifications, the build celebrates them, showing every challenge, every mistake, and every solution along the way. That transparency has become one of the biggest reasons millions of people continue following the project. Viewers feel like they are part of the journey, rather than simply watching the finished result. Another important factor is the influence of YouTube itself. 20 years ago, projects like this would mostly be seen at private workshops or automotive exhibitions. Today, every stage is documented online for millions of viewers. Every decision receives immediate feedback. Every mistake becomes a discussion. Every success is celebrated by fans around the world. This creates enormous pressure for content creators because they must balance engineering decisions with audience expectations. If they play it safe, some viewers complain that the content is boring. If they take a bold risk, others accuse them of ruining an expensive car. Finding the perfect balance is almost impossible. Matt Armstrong has built his reputation by accepting challenges that many people avoid, and that willingness to take risks is one reason his channel has grown so rapidly. Even viewers who disagree with the body kit often admit that without bold decisions, the series would not have attracted nearly as much attention. Controversy itself has become part of the entertainment. Every new upload generates fresh conversations, reaction videos, expert opinions, and thousands of comments. In many ways, that constant discussion keeps the project alive between episodes. At the same time, some industry professionals have pointed out that judging the project before it is completely finished may not be fair. Custom bodywork almost always looks different after paint. Final assembly, lighting adjustments, polished trim, proper wheel alignment, and detailed finishing work. Colors can completely change how body lines appear. Reflections can make sharp angles look smoother, while properly fitted panels often transform an unfinished build into something that looks factory-made. Many famous custom cars received negative reactions during construction, but earned widespread praise once every final detail came together. Whether that will happen with this Bugatti remains uncertain. No one can predict how opinions will change after the finished car is revealed. That uncertainty is exactly what keeps viewers coming back for every new episode. Everyone wants to see whether the critics will be proven right, or whether the finished wide-body Chiron will surprise the entire automotive world by becoming one of the most unforgettable builds ever documented on YouTube. While much of the public conversation is focused on the body kit itself, another important part of the story is the man leading the project. Matt Armstrong did not become one of YouTube's biggest automotive creators overnight. His success came from years of taking on damaged cars that many people believed were beyond saving. Long before the Bugatti entered his workshop, he had already earned the trust of millions of viewers by rebuilding high-end performance cars, solving difficult mechanical problems, and showing every step of the process instead of hiding the setbacks. Unlike television shows that often skip over mistakes and only show the highlights, Matt built his audience by being honest about the challenges. If a part did not fit correctly, viewers saw it. If something broke during installation, they watched him fix it. If a repair took days instead of hours, the audience experienced that journey alongside him. That style of content created a strong connection with viewers because it felt genuine rather than scripted. People were not just watching a mechanic repair expensive cars. They were watching someone face impossible situations and slowly work toward a solution through patience, skill, and determination. That is one reason the Bugatti Chiron rebuild attracted such enormous attention